Republicans and conservatives are always very concerned, Lewis, about balancing the budget, curbing excess spending, being financially responsible. And it's all pretty much a joke, as we know and as we've explored on this program for many years. But it is also about states' rights, as they say, Lewis, and the right for sovereign states to make decisions and blah, 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 blah. And according to a new study by the Tax Foundation, the 7 states that take in the most federal dollars all have one thing in common. They all voted Republican in the 2012 presidential election. The Tax Foundation summed it up by saying, though taxes are the most common and recognizable source of state government revenues, it's important to remember that they're not the only source. In fact, state governments received 31.5% of their total revenue from transfers from the federal government in the 2012 fiscal year. The number varies pretty significantly for specific states. For example, Mississippi gets 45% of its total state general revenues from the federal government. Also on the high end are Louisiana, Tennessee, South Dakota, and Missouri. The states that use the most federal aid are the same states that voted Republican in presidential elections. According to a 2010 study by the Fourth Branch, there is a very strong correlation between a state voting for Republicans and receiving more in federal spending. No surprise, Lewis, that those in blue states are subsidizing the red states with regard to federal taxes, often paying out more than they take in federal revenues. Same thing that we've been talking about for a while. A lot of talk about fiscal conservatism and personal responsibility. And we see those liberal blue states that can't even balance the budget, apparently, supporting these red states that vote for Republicans and seem to rely on the federal government.
Without the blue states, these states would look like, what would they look like? There would probably be no schools, no infrastructure. It would be
a libertarian's dream, wouldn't it?
Total chaos if they did not have the support of the blue states.
When Republican candidates like Mitt Romney talk about the takers, they're disproportionately talking about red states, even though they would never admit that. Maybe they don't even know that.
Yeah. Maybe they think that, of course, to some extent, these red states are putting in some of that money. But yeah, I'm not sure where they get their numbers from.
Isn't this more evidence that the supply side right-wing economics that are touted election year in and election year out by the Republican Party simply do not work? We already know that we don't have economic data that suggests that. And now we are increasingly becoming aware of the fact that we don't have tax data that supports that those policies work either.
We have states that have been doing the same types of things for decades, maybe close to a century, and it's always been a disaster. They continue to suffer, and I'm not sure what they're thinking.